Change Your World series that we had been doing before Lent, what was that, in March? In February, no, a couple months or so ago, that where we were going through this Change Your World series. It's not change the world, remember, it's change your world. What do you need to do to change your world, what you're experiencing? We talked about the 7 powers. The 7 powers will allow you to look at life through the lens of love rather than the lens of fear. And we looked at these 7 different powers. We're going through each one. We hit the power of attention, the power of love, the power of acceptance, the power of perception. We're going to be on the power of intention. And then these are the other 3 that we'll carry. Remember, we talked about there's an independence among these powers. And as we've said through these first 4, we've seen some of that interdependence. We've seen how they kind of connect and support one another. And we also realize that we have to address this because we've given up with others as a result of our failed attempt to control them. Okay? We sometimes give up and feel powerless or feel like that we can't change our world because we can't be in control of what others are doing. And so we kind of bail out of relationships, bail out of situations because we don't have control. These 7 powers are to help us approach that control. You remember the first one we talked about, the power of attention. What I focus on, I get more of. Now, what I want to remind us as we look at these, I'm going to just run through these first 4 real quick. What we're talking about here is how we change our perception and our thought processes. Okay? These are general rules. I'm sure you could find some example of, well, that's not real because look right here. These are general rules and principles for us to get our minds kind of situated and in the right mode and thinking the right way for God's Word. So what I focus on, I get more of. There's good and bad in every situation. Constant in our lives, no matter what happens, there's good and bad. And what we choose to focus on, we get more of because we learn to see more of that. So if we're always focusing on the negative, our mind gets wired to where we just automatically see the negative in everything. But if we choose to see the positive, we get into the habit, into the routine of looking and seeing good around us and good in our life. It doesn't mean we ignore the challenges, but we recognize that we can see positive things in our life. The next one was the power of love. What I offer to others, I give to myself. Remember, we talked about that what we give to others, we give to ourselves. It builds us up and it helps us have value for ourselves. So when we give to others, it lifts us at the same time. As Jesus said, you'll give to others, love others as you love yourself. It's that balancing. And as we give to others, it allows us to love ourselves. The power of acceptance. This moment is as it is, and I can relax. It's accepting and realizing that every situation that we're in, it's the way it is. We may not like it, but if we resist the reality of it, then we struggle and we have challenges. And we have to accept that this moment is as it is. I can relax because God is in control. God is in control of everything, and I can relax. The last one is the power of perception. No one can make you angry without your permission. This was a tough one. This is a challenge, isn't it? Because recognizing that our anger is because of our own perceptions, our own inner workings, that somebody can do something and we can see it as one way or the other. We can get angry or we can see it as an opportunity. And this picture right here, if you remember this picture, it looks like an old man and an old woman. But if you look, here's a lady at a doorway. This is a street. This is a little band or a little person playing. Here's a guitar player. You see the hat? There's 2 images in that one image. And it's what we perceive in that situation is what really matters. That if we perceive the situation as a threat and something to get angry about, we can do that. But we can also look at it in a Look at it through God's eyes. What's going on in this situation? Those are the four that we've covered so far. Today I want to talk about the power of intention. This really deals with conflict. Okay? This is going to be talking about conflict. What is our intention when we are dealing with people? In this situation, what do you think the intention was of this man standing in front of these tanks? We've seen this image before, haven't we? What conflict is going on here? What was his intent? What's the intentions here? Who's this a picture of? Anybody here? What's their intent? What's going on? What's happening here in the midst of this? They're in a deep conflict, aren't they? They're fighting. They're really going at each other. Well, what's going on here? What's the conflict here? What's happening here? Remember, this is actually a statue in New York City. But think about the conflict in this image. What's the intent of the little man popping up out of the hole there? Conflict, if we realize conflict has some dimensions to it. This is a conflict cycle that I ran across that I thought was really interesting. I want to just run through it real quick. There's a person one, you, and person two is another person. The first time you meet, there's two possible things that can come out of this. The first thing is that there's a possible conflict. You do not have a good experience. Well, right away, that already kind of starts building into the possibility of a conflict. You decide that person two is like. So right away, you start kind of having perceptions, and it affects the second time that you meet. If you had a good experience over here, it's a possible friendship, and person two decides what you are like. Because you've already kind of decided and accepted that person, so the other person has to kind of make some decisions. And we realize that as we interact with people and as we connect with people, that it lays a foundation. Our first connection really could be a positive or negative one. It lays a foundation of how we connect with that person. But that first encounter with that person has history because it really relates to how we have met other people at times. And it lays a foundation for that. I want to talk about a situation here in Acts 9, 3 through 4. This is when Saul was met on the road to Damascus. A lot of us have heard this story. I don't want to go into it real deeply, but I do want to kind of touch on it. Acts 9, 3 through 4. Now as Saul, this is when Saul was traveling before he was named Paul, remember? He was the bad guy this time, remember? What was he doing? What was Saul doing at this time? He was persecuting the church, wasn't he? Persecuting Christians, followers of Jesus. And it was his primary job to go and arrest them and to imprison them and do all kinds of other things to try to stop this new religion that was developing. And as he was going along and approaching Damascus, suddenly a light from heaven flashed around him. First time encounter here. He fell to the ground and heard a voice saying to him, Saul, Saul, why do you persecute me? First encounter, wasn't it? Think of the conflict that was going on here. A big conflict between Paul or Saul and the church, Saul and Jesus. What did Jesus do? Hit him with a lightning bolt? What did he do? Think of how he approached conflict here. And we can look at this and start understanding how we need to approach conflict. That conflict is an opportunity to teach and learn. Conflict is not something to be afraid of, but it's an opportunity to teach and to learn. We have to realize that it's both of them going on at the same time, because if we say, well, conflict is an opportunity for me to teach that person that they're wrong, we've got a wrong attitude. But we say this is an opportunity to teach and to learn. That means that both of us have strengths coming together, and how do we sort this out, and how do we listen and hear each other and talk to each other? Conflict is an opportunity. What are our views of conflict? Well, if we were perfect enough, our lives would Isn't that one of our attitudes? If we're perfect enough, we wouldn't have any conflict. Everything would be great, wouldn't it? Of course, Sherry doesn't have to worry. I'm not perfect, so we constantly have conflict. So anyone who creates conflict is the bad guy. Now, anybody that creates a conflict, like this guy right here, I mean, they're the bad guy because they started it. It's kind of one of our attitudes, isn't it? It is someone else's fault if I feel out of control. It's somebody else's fault if this thing gets out of control. It's their fault. When others fight, both of them are at fault. Because we shouldn't be fighting. We shouldn't have any conflict. So if they're fighting, it's both of their fault. Two kids are sitting there fighting and you get so sick and tired of kids, you punish them both. Both of you go to your room. This is over. Right? If we disagree, we are not good Christians. Isn't this our views of conflict? Let's be honest. They're close, aren't they? A lot of these we kind of see and understand and have been taught through the years. Because of verses similar to this, 1 Thessalonians 4, 10 through 12. But we urge you, beloved, to do so more and more, to aspire to live quietly, to mind your own affairs, and to work with your hands as we directed you, so that you may behave properly towards outsiders and be dependent on no one. Live quietly. Don't fight. Don't bicker. Don't have conflicts. And then here's another one. Matthew 5:39 through 41. But I say to you, do not resist the evildoer. Don't fight him. But if anyone strikes you in the right cheek, turn the other also. And if anyone wants to sue you, take your coat, give your cloak as well. And if anyone forces you to go 1 mile, just go that second mile. Just get it over with. This is a lot of our teachings, isn't it? That we've been taught that we need to avoid conflict and not face it. We often equate disagreement with disrespect. We often equate disagreement with disrespect. So if somebody agrees with me, they don't respect me. It's kind of a natural thing for us to do. It's not something that we do because we're made Christians. It's just because we're humans. We tend to bring those things together. When we equate disagreement with disrespect, we create a link between others' behaviors and our competence. Immediately, if somebody disagrees with us, we immediately think they're challenging my competence. I must be an idiot, stupid, dumb, because I guess I just am an idiot. I don't know any better, right? Is that what you're saying? Isn't that how sometimes we feel when someone disagrees? They say, well, you shouldn't have wore that shirt with those pants. You didn't say those. Does this tie go? I have no idea if this tie goes. I just thought, well, it's close. So I put it on. And Sherry might say, well, that doesn't go together. And I'll say, so I guess I'm just an idiot and I can't figure out what to wear. A lot of times we do that. We attach when someone disagrees with what we're doing with our competence. An example, a child wants a toy at the store. A parent says no to the child. Child throws a tantrum. We've never experienced that, have we? Has anybody here experienced that? Yeah. Well, what is the perception here? Perception one, the child's actions are intended to humiliate you. Our competence, see? Immediately we think, well, that child's acting like that just to make a fool of me or just humiliate me in front of everybody in the store, all these strangers. Another perception is the child is overwhelmed by the many temptations. You see how, if we look at intention, what is the child's intent here? What do we perceive is going on here? We can say the child's intent is to humiliate me because then we're attaching it to our own competence. When the real situation is that the child is just overwhelmed. It sees all this stuff and it can't process it, and it's just a little overwhelmed. duct tape out, the tape will run. Problem solved. When conflict is viewed as bad, we search for a magic bullet, some all-powerful technique that will banish it forever. When we view conflict as bad, we're looking for something that will stop it, will end it, will get it over with, and fix this thing. We pretend that we can eliminate conflict, but it's just a part of nature. You see the zebra here? He's trying to eliminate conflict, isn't he? He's trying to get away. It's a part of nature. It's a natural part of nature. If we look in nature, everything has conflict in it. It's trying to sort things out, and one's working, there's a survival of the fittest, there's all kinds of things that are going on, and it's just a natural part of this world. Zebras can't get on motorcycles, can they? They have to deal with conflict. We have to deal with conflict. We can try to run and hide from it, but it's there. The reality is, it's there. Through conflict, we learn to establish healthy boundaries between ourselves and others. Conflict is really good because it helps us find those boundaries. Because as we wrestle around, and I've explained this to Sherry a little bit with boys, because she raised girls. And we've got boys. And they're wrestling around and romping on each other. And I said, they're trying to get their pecking order. They're trying to find out where they fit. They'll get through it. They'll fight their way through it. Well, no, you can't do that. I said, well, when you're not here, they do it. Don't let it get out of hand, but they have to find where they fit. And this is what happens with conflict in our relationships. It helps us find where we fit. And who is that person that we can feel connected with and be trusting with and knows that we can, and where that person fits. It's not just about family and friends and acquaintances and strangers. Just because someone is biological doesn't mean immediately they can be trusted. We have to find and test where they fit in our relationships. Conflict helps us do that. When you choose to view conflict as an opportunity to teach, I guess Henry and Jeanette just couldn't handle the conflict this morning.
We've been in a lot of conflict.
You've been married with Henry, you've had a lot of conflict.
15 years. We're going, he says a lot.
Well, go! When you choose to view conflict as an opportunity to teach, you can choose to view conflict as an opportunity to teach or as an opportunity to blame and punish. Which one do you really want it to be? Do you want it to, of course, I don't know if this picture really has much to do. I just saw a picture of this. But how do we approach conflict? Is it a good thing or is it a bad thing? Conflict can be a very healthy thing if we recognize and realize how to manage it correctly. What is our intention in a conflicting situation? What is our intention? Is it to blame and punish? Or is it to teach? What is our intention? This is kind of what we do a lot of times, isn't it? What did Jesus do? When he was brought this lady that needed to be stoned because of adultery, what did he do? This was a time that he used conflict to teach. And he resolved the situation with no violence. We have to be careful about attaching the idea of conflict and violence. This is a real challenge because we see them together as the same and they're not. Not all conflict has violence in it. Violence is not good and it's not healthy and it's not a good way to resolve conflict. There's healthy ways of resolving conflict, but they're not always linked. What do we want to do? Blame a attempts to prevent future conflicts from happening. Solutions seek to teach answers to future conflicts. So if we blame, we're just trying to avoid those conflicts. But when we engage it and we seek solutions, it helps build a foundation for future conflicts, for us to be able to resolve them and work through them in the future. I want to go back to this Matthew 5:39 through 41 verse. This is Jesus' teachings. And it's easy for us to look at this and misunderstand. And I want to run back through this because I want you to see something in here. He says, "But I say to you, do not resist an evildoer. But if anyone strikes you on the right cheek, turn the other cheek also." That's not avoidance. That's staying engaged. He didn't say, when they strike you on the cheek, run and leave. He said, stay engaged into this situation. In verse 40, and if anyone wants to sue you and take your coat, give your cloak as well. Well, here, take this too. It's staying engaged. It's staying connected to that person, working through the issue. Saying, if that thing is that important, here, take this, because that's not what's important. There's something else going on here. Let's get to the bottom of it. And if anyone forces you to go 1 mile, go also the 2nd mile. Because what will happen on that 2nd mile? All of a sudden, this comes from the Roman soldiers had a right to inscript anyone as they were marching, that any citizen they could inscript to carry their pack for 1 mile. And then at the end of that mile, they would take their pack again, I guess probably look for another person, I don't know, but that was the rule, that they could inscript someone for 1 mile. So Jesus is saying, carry that pack for the 2nd mile, because at the end of that mile, he's going to say, okay, you go pack. He said, no, I'll keep on carrying it. You're engaged, and then the whole 2nd mile, the guy's saying, well, why are you doing this? Because Jesus told me to do this. Because I need to be engaged. I need to work through this, or we need to talk. And all of a sudden, these questions come out. Why are you doing this? Well, I'm doing this because I love you. You stayed engaged, and it opened up an opportunity to talk and have dialogue and discuss. This is the teachings of Jesus. It's not to avoid conflict, but to engage people in conflict. Conflict is an opportunity to teach and learn. Remember all the little cards? I got some more. Pass them down. Take one and pass it down. Just keep on passing them around. You don't need to talk. Nobody wants to sit with all of you. Afraid of conflict. I think it's right there. Afraid. Did I miss this one? You don't have to just take one. You don't have to take any at all. You might have a conflict with you. There should be plenty if somebody needs one or wants to take a couple. Again, put these in a place where you'll see them. In the morning when you start your day. While you're driving to work. Put them on your rearview mirror. Just don't put them where you can't see out of your rearview mirror, and then you have an accident and you blame me. Then we have conflict. Put it somewhere where you'll see it in the mornings. Just to remind yourself. Conflict is an opportunity to teach and learn. See, Bob, all those times you had conflict with me, you never knew there was an opportunity to teach and learn, did you?
How come somebody just asked me if I need more than one of these?
Because they're smart, I guess. The power of intention. What is our intent in situations that we find ourselves uncomfortable with? What is the other person's intention? By being intent in resolving the conflict, And we worked it out, and things were resolved, and he became a very strong line leader. Because he learned that it's not about conflict, it's not about having disagreements, it's about addressing them and not hiding from them. You don't have to be afraid of having conflict with someone. It's a natural part, and it's actually a healthy part of